Next on Worcester News tonight, Massachusetts voters head to the polls for Super Tuesday. And taking a look at the election results and what it means for both parties. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Andy Madison. We begin tonight with Super Tuesday. Massachusetts, one of 12 states holding primaries or a caucus today for the Republican and Democratic Party. The polls have closed in Massachusetts a couple hours ago, and Donald Trump is the projected winner in the Bay State. Polls showed Trump with a significant lead over the other GOP candidates leading up to today's primary. You're looking at video from Trump's appearance at the DCU Center in Worcester last year. Massachusetts, one of several states Trump has been the projected winner in this evening. On the Democratic side, Massachusetts at this hour too close to call, but Democratic candidate Hillary Clinton is projected as the winner in several southern states. Texas, Arkansas, Georgia, Alabama, and Virginia are just some of those states that have gone in favor of Clinton. You're looking at video from earlier this evening. Here she is addressing her supporters in Florida.
You who voted for me, to the volunteers and organizers. I know you've worked your hearts out.
Again, now that video was from earlier this evening. Her opponent, Bernie Sanders, won his home state of Vermont, the only other New England state also voting today on Super Tuesday. Sanders has done well in the New England area, winning the New Hampshire primary as well, but still trails Clinton by a significant margin. Sanders campaigned in Massachusetts last night and was in Vermont this evening.
And let me assure you that we are going to take our fight for economic justice, for social justice, for environmental sanity, for a world of peace to every one of those states.
Again, Massachusetts was declared for Donald Trump, but on the Democrat side at this hour, it is still too close to call. Well, tonight's results follow a long day at the polls across Massachusetts. Our Patricia Nicholas spoke with voters earlier today about the race.
I'm a Democrat and I've always loved Hillary. I think we need a feminine touch in the White House. I think she has a lot to provide the country.
Mary Ann was among the voters at the polls early Tuesday morning. Polling places like the Unitarian Universalist Church were crowded with people old and young, a demographic Claire Marvis says is important to the Bernie Sanders campaign.
I hope young people get out because, of course, they're the ones that are kind of the base of Bernie's support, and, you know, hopefully there'll be a really good turnout.
Gerard Stanley votes in every election. He says he is not supporting Republican frontrunner Donald Trump. Stanley says he wants someone who has an agenda similar to President Obama.
I felt as though we've been held back by the Republican House and Senate, and that's been something I would like to change.
For Costa Rican-born Luis Lozano, voting is something he says is important. He says he has noticed in America not many people vote, a right he says people in other countries go to war for.
Here, they have all the freedom to vote and they don't exercise that vote.
Patricia Belcito is backing Hillary Clinton, saying she spent time campaigning for a candidate she believes in.
I am a very strong believer in Hillary, and she's fighting for us. She's giving me the will to fight.
That was our Patricia Nicholas reporting. One voter got some help casting her ballot today in Worcester. The Worcester Police Department tweeting out this photo of an officer walking a 95-year-old woman home from the polls earlier today. No word on who the officer is or where this was taken in the city, but it has been retweeted more than 80 times. Worcester Congressman James McGovern calls it the most important election in a lifetime, and he introduced President Bill Clinton at a late-night rally in the city on Monday. The former president campaigning for his wife Hillary Clinton in front of a packed room of supporters.
Loudest voice on the other side who claims he's going to make America great again. I think that's pretty presumptuous. I don't think we ever stop being great. All these people talking about building walls and sending all the immigrants home, that's a good way to both do something rather unethical and collapse the American economy overnight. It's one of those things that sounds good unless you think.
Again, that was from a rally Monday night. The president noted Hillary Clinton won, the former president, excuse me, noted that Hillary Clinton won Worcester in her last run for president in 2008. Tragedy in Leominster today, where a woman was killed in a fire. Investigators say the fire broke out around 8 this morning in a house on Main Street. The woman was the only person home at the time. Firefighters say when they arrived on scene, there was heavy smoke coming from the basement. The cause of the fire is still under investigation. The Shrewsbury Fire Department responds to a suspicious fire early Tuesday morning. According to the Telegram, the fire department responded to an alert around 1:30 a.m. at Creative Nails and Spa in White City Plaza. They arrived, they noticed the door had been shattered and smoke inside the spa. Crews smelled gasoline at the scene as well. No other businesses were damaged. The investigation continues. As spring approaches, many homeowners may be thinking about doing some yard work or home improvement projects. These projects are popular in warm weather, but can also be a target for scams. Roofing contractor Michael Kenny is preparing for this weekend's spring home show.
I generally do, like I said, 2 to 3 additions a year and probably 5 or 6 interior projects per year.
He has a standard routine when meeting with customers for the first time.
I actually bring my credentials with me. I have a book, it has all my license, copy of insurances, and I try to differentiate by showing them all of my credentials.
As the days get longer and the snow melts, more homeowners will be looking to add a deck or an addition to their home. When looking for contractors, it's best to do your homework to avoid being scammed.
They may ask for a deposit and never come back, or they may just do shoddy work and then you're unable to find them to get it repaired.
Cahalan warns homeowners to also be cautious about payment, saying using the rule of thirds is always a good idea.
It's always a warning sign if they ask for more than a third up front, unless you're ordering some custom materials, and that would require that kind of investment up front.
Get 2 to 3 quotes. I suggest that they ask to see copies of the license, registration, both workers' comp and liability insurance. Another tip that we also got is if you have an agreement with a contractor, be sure to get it in writing. Recommendations based off a school security audit are expected to be discussed this week by Worcester's school committee. Our Brittany Schaefer got a closer look. She went inside a city high school earlier today.
The safety liaison for Worcester Public Schools says elementary schools could start seeing more of a police presence. The move is one recommendation from an independent audit of the school district's safety systems.
The addition of 2 police officers at the elementary schools would be strictly to be available on the outside in helping elementary school principals conduct business when they needed them.
Last summer, the city's public schools were assigned additional police officers. There is now an officer at all city high schools. The assistant principal of North High School, John Creamer, says the police presence has helped the school feel more safe.
There was a series of incidents last year that were a little bit of an anomaly, yet needed to be addressed. And one of the ways that was addressed was the use of the Worcester Police officers in the police department.
School climate has definitely been very positive and has been a lot better since we have assigned police school officers inside the high schools.
Creamer says the officer assigned to North High School is a positive influence for students.
Officer Donahue interacts with the students on a daily basis, provides guidance, greets students, is a visible presence, and is a fair gentleman to our students, and it has helped us greatly. It's reduced our levels of fights, it's reduced our suspension rate.
Rob Pizzella says the success of police officers at Worcester's high schools is backed by statistics.
This year's statistics show, unlike last year, that there has been a decrease in the amount of students being summoned into court for a disruption of school assembly.
The success that we have had here at North High School would certainly say that it would be worthwhile at the elementary level itself.
Brittany Schaefer, Worcester News Tonight.
Last month, 5 employees at Eagleton School in Great Barrington were arrested and charged in an investigation in the abuse of students. The Berkshire Eagle reports the State Department of Early Education and Care released a notice of sanctions on February 17th. The notice also says school officials allegedly tried to avoid investigation by not reporting the scope and extent of a student's injuries to authorities.
Privacy versus security has been in the spotlight ever since Apple refused to follow a court order to unlock one of the San Bernardino shooter's iPhones. Today, testimony on Capitol Hill from both sides, along with one professor from Worcester Polytechnic University. Peter Howe has the details.
Essentially, we're asking Apple, take the vicious guard dog away, let us try and pick the lock.
Protecting the security and the privacy of hundreds of millions of iPhone users is the right thing to do.
The epic Apple versus FBI battle took center stage on Capitol Hill Tuesday afternoon with not much agreement other than encrypted smartphones are now one of the most important and unresolved frontiers of the privacy versus national security debate. The immediate issue, can the FBI get a judge to order Apple to devise a way for the FBI to get into one of the San Bernardino terrorists' iPhones?
Is there somebody else? And are there clues to what else might have gone on here? That is our job.
Cybersecurity expert Susan Landau from Worcester Polytechnic Institute and Apple argue the precedent here is dangerous.
When you build a way in for someone who isn't the owner to get at the data, well, you've built a way in for somebody else to get in as well.
When this tool is created, the fear, obviously, is that it might be used by others.
Hackers, cyber thieves, and worse. But FBI Director James Comey and many members of Congress worry about an America in which things and information are now beyond the reach of search warrants and police.
The tools you are counting on us to use to keep you safe are becoming less and less effective.
The right to counsel, the right to free speech, the right to a jury trial just isn't of much use if you're dead.
Peter Howe.